yeah, you got a whoa there. We'll take a short break. Our first fight is coming up next. It's going to be Gary Balletto against Luis Lizarraga. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas join us right after this.
We are coming to you from southeastern Connecticut, where they proudly boast a Foxwoods Resort and Casino. It's marketed as the wonder of it all, but is there really any wonder that Friday Night Fights is anticipating yet another great main event from what has become the new age East Coast boxing hotbed? From the Fox Theater, we start off the night with New England regional favorite Gary Tiger Balletto against the well-tested Luis Lizarraga. There is Luis Lizarraga, turned pro in his native Mexico just after his 15th birthday. Now almost 16 years into his career, still plugging away. 31, 27-4, 23 knockouts. His last 5 shows plenty of name opponents, but also 3 straight fights without a win. It was back in August 2001 when he upset the then unbeaten Olympic medalist Toncho Tonchev. And here is Rhode Island's Gary Balletto, 5'10", came in at 135 pounds. An aggressive power puncher, 28-1-2, 25 knockouts. He's in the ring here so often at Foxwoods. He should punch a time card at the loading deck. In fact, he was just here 8 weeks ago. Lone loss of his career was also here at Foxwoods. That was Michael Clark. Gary's last outing was on May 30th. The always game Frank Hotailing got to Gary in the 3rd round, but by the time the round was over, it was Balletto who had Hotailing in trouble. Then in the 4th round, he followed it up with a knockdown and stoppage. Now he has every intention of a repeat performance tonight.
I have to knock this guy out, and I have to do it in a good fashion. This is a fight that I didn't really want to take. He was available. There aren't many guys that are jumping to fight me at this point. Nobody wants to fight a big puncher in this division. There's always a risk. So, you know, what do I gain from this fight? I think he's a stepping stone. We're trying to get a main event on ESPN2. And he's just another rock in the road. I have to step over him to get to the next level.
And there is Gary Balletto. Obviously a big following here in Ledyard, Connecticut. He's from just over the border in Rhode Island. Makes for quick work. Lots of offense in his game. They're scheduled for 10 rounds. Veteran referee Frank Cappuccino getting to work tonight.
Good evening, gentlemen. You were both given your instructions in the dressing room, both your touch gloves. Touch gloves. I'll leave it with you.
Good luck. All right, Teddy Atlas, the wrap on this guy, Luis Lizarraga, is that he's experienced against top-flight competition, but he never really went to school against that top-flight competition, especially when it comes to improving himself defensively. That could play right into Gary Balletto's style, couldn't it?
Well, anybody who moves and boxes, that's bad for Balletto. Anybody who stands in front and exchanges with Balletto, well, that's what he likes, and that's what he's got tonight. And as you alluded to, as far as fighting top opposition, Lizarraga has fought many top fighters, including 3 former world champions. But when he steps up to that level, he usually gets stopped. We'll see what level he's at tonight.
Gary Balletto's family was on vacation this week. He was supposed to be with them in North Carolina's Outer Banks, but he got the call. He said he couldn't pass it up. So his summer vacation is on hold until after his work gets done tonight.
The way to go with Balletto is to box, give angles, keep him more balanced. He needs to be set to punch. Don't stand in front of him, don't go straight back. I don't think Lizarraga, who's been pro for 15 years and 9 months, I don't think he has the legs to fight all night long, that kind of style. You can see he has the mindset, the experience, the smarts to understand that's what he should do here early. I don't know that he can keep it up and at the same time create enough offense to get the respect of the younger, stronger Balletto from walking right in. The one thing about Balletto, he's wide, he's strong, punches good if you stand in front of him, but he's wide with his shots. You can get an opportunity to punch inside those shots, but you don't want to do what's going on here, which is laying on the ropes by Lizarraga. I think Balletto should concentrate on that body with the 30-year-old Lizarraga, the 30-year-old well-worn Lizarraga. Concentrate on that body. Take the little bit of legs that are there. Take them away. Don't waste too many shots going to the head and missing. Slow him down, then go upstairs and be effective.
Right hand, left hand comes in from Lizarraga. Balletto did his best work halfway through the round when he had him against the ropes. A couple of left hands snuck in, as did a right uppercut.
What you see is what you get. Balletto's going to be coming forward, swinging, haymakers, and sometimes wide. He's going to be effective catching Lizarraga at the end of his punches, stepping back or standing there, or he's going to leave himself open to get caught in between one of those wide shots. You know Balletto's stronger, he's bigger. He's been lightweight in the junior welterweight his whole career. Lizarraga, he's fluctuated from super bantamweight to lightweight. Matter of fact, tonight, he's the heaviest weight he's been in 2 years. Bigger, stronger, younger, Balletto. He's got to make it that kind of fight inside. And he should be going to the body, which he's not. Talked about Lizarraga losing 2 of his last 3. That's only part of the story. He's lost 16 of his last 20. 5 by knockout.
Right hand comes in from Balletto. Lizarraga against the ropes again. Takes a couple uppercuts on the bell. ESPN2 Friday Night Fights presented by Miller Lite. Tell it over a great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. It's Miller time. And in part by Get Somewhere. Grab life by the horns. Dodge. The Rainmaker statue. We welcome you back to Friday Night Fights. Pick up the action here in the second round between Gary Balletto and Luis Lizarraga. 18 of Balletto's 22 connects were power shots in that first round. Back to the jab here in round number 2, Teddy.
As we said, Lizarraga fought many top fighters. He only has not fared well when he stepped up to the top level. This will be a barometer for people out there that think that their guy, Balletto, is that top or want to know if he's that top level. This will be a little bit of a barometer of that. If Lizarraga goes the distance, does well with Balletto, then you know Balletto's not at that level.
Balletto wins the better of those 2 connects. It was a left hand that got in against Lizarraga.
That's the old-fashioned taking 3 to land 1. Balletto's stronger. You see there's more strength, there's more force in his punches. But there's more width and time spent delivering. Opportunities for Lizarraga to do 2 things. As I said, you need to box Balletto. He does not handle movement well. Styles make fights. The style of a mover does not fare good for Balletto. Does not deal with that well. Lizarraga has come here with a game plan to do some of that, but at 30 years of age, 15 years and 9 months in the bank of a career, I don't think he can do it all night, so he has 2 choices. Box a little bit, Joe, and punch in between those wide shots and score that way with Balletto.
He scores with another left hand as Lizarraga was backed up against the ropes.
Balletto's missing the boat a little bit here, concentrating on the head. Lizarraga's been around a long time. He does that. He makes you miss when you go to the head.
Boy, you just said it, Teddy. The big whiffs.
Cools us off a little bit over here. Not a lot of fans here. Balletto needs to concentrate on the body. Slow down the 30-year-old Lizarraga. Take some of that experience away. Take some of that head movement away.
Time!
New England regional favorite here at Foxwoods. Round number 3 against Luis Lizarraga on Friday Night Fights. Gary says that Lizarraga is the type of fighter who knows how to survive because he's been in against everyone. And he's seen everything. When we asked him for a scouting report on Lizarraga, he said, you know, he's a sneaky kind of guy. Surviving through 2 rounds, and at times being the better work in against Gary Balletto.
The physical and technical state is very important in anything, and in this case in boxing. But the mental state is the most important. I have a funny feeling, doesn't mean he won't get it, but I have a funny feeling Balletto came into this fight mentally thinking he was going to score a knockout, thinking that he had an old guy in front of him, and when he landed one of those big swings, it was going to be over. If he did, that can put a crink into his plans for a great night tonight. If you're just looking for a knockout, and you don't get it, sometimes it's hard to change gears to get into the kind of fight you need to be in from the beginning. Lizarraga, the old warhorse, is always ready for those kind of fights. Lizarraga, his first 43 fights, though, were in Mexico. That's why he was able to turn pro at such a tender age, of 15 years of age. You can't do that over here.
We've seen that before, the Mexicans who may come in with a certain record, but you chalk it up to when they turn pro and the learning experience of it. It's the USA's only version of that would be Clarence Bones Adams.
Keep him up, man. You hear?
There's a good veteran referee, Frank Cappuccino, making sure right away things don't get out of hand. A warning to keep them up. This is where Balletto should be keeping his hands free and going to the body.
Good exchange for Balletto, lands a couple of right hands and tries for that uppercut up against the ropes. Good right hand sneaks in on the inside.
Lizarraga's looking to punch in between, hoping that something gets wide. He knows Balletto gets wide. Creates a window of opportunity once in a while. So this is where Balletto must use his youth and his strength. He's the bigger, stronger guy. This is where he must keep those hands going, and as I said earlier, I think concentrate on the body. Because Lizarraga moving his head pretty well when he goes upstairs. So far, Lizarraga has come here with a good fight plan. Little movement and enough offense, enough punching in between that movement to get the respect of Balletto.
Kurt Reeder in the corner of Gary Balletto saying, you got the jitters out, now let's get to work. We'll see if he can here in round number 4. They're scheduled for 10. He was 0 for 21 on his jabs in that 3rd round. Swinging wildly.
Lizarraga, we said from the beginning, couldn't stand all the time in front of Balletto. He had to come with a nice balance, a nice mixture of a little movement, a little punch, but he had to find a way to get some offense going to get the respect of Balletto. He's found that way right away. He punches in between the moves, then he moves. He has a chance to catch Balletto. Balletto not the fastest guy in the world. He has a chance. He walks straight in Balletto. Lizarraga's been able to catch him and then get out of harm's way.
And a piece.
So this is where Balletto must keep his hands free like that. Rotate those shoulders, bend his knees, not fall into Lizarraga.
I say break.
And get that youth movement going. Punch inside. Wear down the 30-year-old Lizarraga so the late rounds can be there for him.
Right hand comes in from Balletto, but there comes that free swinging left again, coming up empty. Teddy Atlas's scorecard for the first 3 rounds. Had an even 3rd round, 29-29. Balletto doing some work on the inside as Lizarraga's back up against the ropes.
Not landing a lot here. Balletto doing a lot of missing. Lizarraga knows what he's doing. But Balletto carrying this part of the round just be more active.
Bring it.
Moving his hands, controlling the pace, controlling the tempo, being the boss. You can be sure Lizarraga is looking for spots in between wide shots. Just watch. He will be looking for that. Also, what he's looking for is when Balletto finishes punching, he thinks Balletto is not as schooled as him. He thinks he takes a picture when he finishes. So he wants to come back and catch him. Catch him posing. Catch him with that flash bowl. Only the flash should be the punch. Better round for Balletto, just controlling the pace and picking up the punch numbers.
Finding range with that jab and then targeting that right hand.
Time!
End of round number 4. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas with you. Friday Night Fights from Foxwoods here in Connecticut. Everybody on Friday Night Fights wants to send their thoughts and prayers to the family of Tommy Parks, the longtime trainer who passed away at his New Jersey home this week. Teddy?
Yeah, Tommy Parks was one of those old-time trainers. We don't have them anymore. We lose him, we lose a very important part of boxing. He was a teacher. He was a guy who apprenticeship to sport. He was a guy who was a gentleman, too. He's a guy who had world champions, Charles Murray, Bobby Chaz, middleweight contender, Hurricane Carter. This is a man who is one of those real consummate boxing people. We don't have that anymore. We don't have the opportunity to get a guy who can apprenticeship where there's clubs going on. Boxing is really sorely gonna miss Tommy Parks, a gentleman, a teacher, a trainer, a boxing man. God bless you, Tommy. God bless your family.
Our condolences, our thoughts and prayers to the family of longtime venerable trainer Tommy Parks. Round number 5, Gary Balletto and the veteran Mexican Luis Lizarraga. Balletto was able to land 19 out of 43 power shots in that 4th round. You saw the punches in total there. Halfway through this 10-round fight.
Early on, Lizarraga having success because there was offense with the defensive plan. Last 2 rounds, less offense, less success. You have a young bull, a young lion. He's crude in certain areas, but he's young and he's strong and he's willing. That's Balletto. You have a guy like that, you have to have offense, not just defensive plan. You have to slow him down and not invite him into your kitchen like Lizarraga is doing right now. You don't want him in your living room. You don't want him setting tent and setting camp the way he is right now. Inside where he can be strong. He can bang that body. He can use his youth. And he can control the fight. Last 2 rounds, that's what Balletto's been allowed to do. Lizarraga being smart. But he's got to turn on some offense. Find a way to put Balletto in his place a little bit like he did early in the fight. After 15 years and 9 months, maybe it's not that easy for Lizarraga to keep up that offensive pace consistently. He can only do it in spots.
Wild swinging right hand this time. He's good for 1 around, Teddy.
I like when he does it over here because it gives you a nice breeze, cools you down just a little bit.
Now he's stalking Lizarraga across the canvas.
One thing I give Balletto credit for, I'm talking about he's a little wide sometimes. Inside, he's shortening him up a little bit. He is shortening his punches up a little bit, and he's been using his jab to close the distance to put him in this position. He's been using that jab, not a snapping jab, not a Muhammad Ali jab. So what? It's been closing the gap. It's been setting up other punches.
Much better compared to that third round where he didn't even land one. Now at least it's a guide. Friday night fights from Foxwoods. Joe Tessitore alongside Teddy Atlas ringside. Gary Balletto in that fifth round. His best work so far tonight against Luis Lizarraga. He threw twice as many punches and he landed twice as many. Threw 72, landed 18.
Guess what? Balletto is learning on the job, shortening his punches up with the experience. Lizarraga starting to use that jab just enough to keep Lizarraga honest, stabilize him, set up the right hand, which just missed because he loaded up a little bit, but he had the right idea. Use the jab to close the gap. Use the jab to find the target. Don't just wing the punches alone. Next round, different round here. Sixth round, just past the midway point. Same problem, same job at hand for Lizarraga. Needs to find offense, like he did the early couple rounds. He has stopped. Lizarraga has stopped finding offense, finding respect in Balletto, and he has stopped winning rounds since he's done that.
Balletto back to the jab. Teddy, we heard Balletto say before this fight that he knows he has to knock this guy out, that this guy is a stepping stone. Because of that, was he looking for the knockout too much in those first 3 rounds before he settled into more
I believe he
of a game plan?
was. I believe he was. I believe that's a true point. I believe he was, and to his credit, he learned quickly. You better let that go out the window and get to the solid fundamentals of fighting one round at a time and doing the fundamental things you need to do every night you get in the ring, every time you get in the ring. Use your jab, be consistent, think about defense, set punches up, try to be a pro, not just a knockout artist. Right now, Lizarraga has shifted into counter-punching gear. He's just looking to counter. There's no leads coming.
Lunging right hand sets up a series of connections from Balletto with Lizarraga back against the ropes. Goes to the right hand again.
Again, it should be body punching, I believe, here for Balletto. That one was a little low, but no damage.
There's a good right hand from Balletto.
This is where Balletto must bend his knees. Keep his own balance, not lean into Lizarraga. You lean into your opponent, he'll pull you off balance. He'll disappear from you. You have to keep your own balance when you're close. Bend your knees so you don't fall in. You can see right there, Balletto fell in a little too close. He needs to bend those legs.
Well, Scotty Pemberton is in our main event tonight, but he has other business to take care of. Let's go to his locker room. You won't believe this one.
Turn that up a little. Margaret, this is the most important night of my night. And we had a beautiful daughter. And I love you very much. And I want to know if you would marry me.
There it is. It's official. The graphic even says it, Teddy. Right here on Friday Night Fights.
Well, I believe that's a first as far as I know. I mean, you've had guys like Ahmad Rashad, the popular broadcaster who proposed to his wife on the air. You've had people at ball games that have done it, but this is a first for me as far as I know. Look for this on SportsCenter later tonight.
Margaret Sylvia and Scotty Pemberton engaged in the middle of our first fight here on Friday Night Fights. And down the road, he will be stepping into this ring against Omar Shika. Congratulations, Margaret and Scott. Well, the last 3 rounds, the tide has turned as Gary Balletto has gotten back to basics, throwing that jab out there and bringing the right hand behind it. He has outlanded Lizarraga 213 to 131 in the last 3 rounds alone.
Well, you know, Joe, I just have to use this moment of marital blitz to use that as a lead-in to wish you and congratulate you on a happy 5th, you and your wife, Rebecca, on a happy 5th wedding anniversary. Congratulations, Joe.
Thank you, Teddy. And I'm spending it with you.
Just make sure those lights stay bright.
Oh, they're nice and bright here at Foxwoods, and they're staying that way.
I don't want to see anyone dimming any lights over here. No candles. You can do that later. You have 2 beautiful children. Very good. Well, right now, it's the same old story. Lizarraga needs to find offense. He's been hanging in there. He's been avoiding the big shots like that. Even when he lays on the ropes, he knows when to get off. He walks around, but he needs to get those hands going like he's doing right now.
Lizarraga backing up Gary Balletto for a moment here in round number 7. And the busier man halfway through this round.
You know, you could say, watching at home, you could say, you know, Lizarraga, you've been talking about Balletto being wide and gives you opportunities to punch inside. Lizarraga was wide with those punches, but there's one thing, he can get away with it because Balletto's punches back are wide. They're not going to get in between them. You can get away with it if the guy in front of you is punching back wide, not crisp. Because the holes are there when you punch wide, but they can only be closed by short punches. They won't be closed by wide punches. Here's Lizarraga looking for counters again.
And Balletto still trying to target that left hand. Now he digs into the body.
Once again, this is where Balletto, I think, downstairs and then upstairs. With an emphasis on downstairs.
Lizarraga absorbs a big right hand.
Give both guys credit. Balletto shortening them up a little bit. Lizarraga, he's a warrior.
Solid 7th round for both guys. Chuck Sullivan working on the cut of Gary Balletto. That 7th round, plenty of action. The power connects through 7. Balletto has landed 106 to Lizarraga's 74. But after controlling the pace of the fight in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round, Lizarraga answered some concerns in the 7th.
And there's a move that, you know, it's not really, that's not completely a kosher move there. Balletto getting away with one. Forgot his mouthpiece, just walked back to the corner. He had a gentleman in Lizarraga and a very forgiving gentleman referee in Frank Cappuccino allowing him to walk back and get that mouthpiece.
Teddy's scorecard, 69-65 Balletto. And they're picking up this 8th round right where they left off in that 7th round. Uppercut comes in, the right hand caught Lizarraga.
You know what? That's the right punch right now in close quarters for Balletto. It should be body punches as short as possible and uppercuts. Because now, from the wear and the tear of the fight and the body work, and being that we're in the 8th round, we're coming down the stretch, Lizarraga is starting to lean forward from the waist every time Balletto gets close. He wasn't doing that early. He was fresh early. But now look, he's starting to lean forward a little bit to get away from some of those shots. He's wearing down just a little bit. Uppercut should be a big part of the offense now, I believe. Again, Lizarraga leaning forward. That uppercut and the body shots should be the main. There's a good counterpunch in between the wide shots there by Lizarraga.
Both a left hand and a right hand came in from Gary Balletto. Seemed to do damage halfway through this 8th round, but the tough veteran Luis Lizarraga still standing strong and still able to fire off when he chooses.
There's 3 spots Lizarraga can catch Balletto. Punching in between the shots when he's coming in straight. And sometimes after Balletto finishes punching, he poses. Lizarraga can come right back and nail him. And he did this round so far. But the strength, the youth, is carrying the round here so far, right now. And that's Balletto. ocean right now, crashing into the shore. You know, Lizarraga rode a lot of waves tonight, but how many waves can you ride? Until finally, that ocean pounds you and pounds you and pounds you and wears you down. That's what Balletto's trying to do right now.
And as this 8th round comes to a conclusion, there's plenty of erosion on that beach. Welcome back to Friday Night Fights. Good opening bout here between Gary Balletto and Luis Lizarraga. Balletto has come on strong at the end of the 7th round and got in some real solid shots in that 8th round. You see the edge 29-9 in punches landed. Of those 29 connects, 28 of them were power shots. 47% of his power shots landed in that 8th round.
Pretty good cut over the left eye of Balletto, which he got the last round. Of course, referee Frank Cappuccino let us know it was caused by a clash of heads. That means if this fight is stopped, they will go to the scorecards. Which we believe Balletto's ahead right now.
One would think.
Balletto has been cut over that left eye before, so he knows how to deal with a cut.
Stop! Break! Step back, step back.
Balletto using that jab, not a snapping jab, just a range finder to close the gap so it's clear to come in. What he wants to do is he wants to plow his way in for that right hand. He wants to clear the way so as he comes forward behind the jab, Lizarraga is less likely to chuck leather at him because there's something coming at him. One thing Balletto better be a little careful. He's getting a little lazy with that left hand. Taking it a little bit for granted, pushing it out there slow. Lizarraga could get an opportunity to quickly snap a right hand over one of those lazy jabs.
Targeting that right hand again, but returning fire is Luis Lizarraga.
On one hand, it's good that Balletto's using that jab to set up the right hand. On the other hand, when he's throwing it slow, you know the right hand's coming. Once again, this is where the young Tiger, Balletto, should be punching, not being separated.
Let me hear that 10-second level.
Even though he's ahead in this fight, we believe, you need to do the things you need to do that give you an edge every time you're in the ring. Tonight, one of the things that he has an advantage over his opponent is the ability to be strong inside and to punch and move those hands to the body. Right now, the last 40 seconds, Balletto did not get that done. Still carried the round, though.
ESPN2 Friday Night Fights presented by Miller Lite. Tell it over a great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. It's Miller time. And in part by Everlast, the choice of champions since 1910. And Converse, America's original sports brand. Apparel available August. The Pequot Museum here in Ledyard, Connecticut. Luis Lizarraga, no fear. Yeah, he's been in with just about everybody on that list. A guy we're going to see on Tuesday Night Fights, Angel Manfredi, who knocked him out in the 5th round back in 1999. Tenth and final round. Gary Balletto. He said, I need to knock this guy out. He's a stepping stone. Others have gone down that road with Luis Lizarraga. A couple have been upset by him. The punches through round 9. 200 more by Gary Balletto thrown.
There was a change in winds in this fight. Happened after the 3rd round, where the offensive winds just went out of the sail of the experienced Lizarraga. He's He's been hanging in there, picking little spots, but for the most part, lost control of this fight, the tempo of this fight, by not sustaining enough offense to go with his defensive movement, not gaining enough respect from the stronger Balletto, not slowing him down enough.
And it confirms what was Gary Balletto's original scouting report heading into this fight, where he described him as a guy who's a survivor, a guy who's been in there and knows how to survive rounds. Balletto trying to corner Luis Lizarraga.
To Balletto's credit, he made Lizarraga after 3 tough rounds. He convinced him to be a survivor by using what Balletto could use, his strength, his youth, his size, and having enough offense to put Lizarraga into this kind of mode. This is what you don't want to see, though, because I'm always looking, anybody's always looking in the boxing world as a trainer, guy who's responsible for developing the fighter for the next fight, what he's got to do down the road, that he's doing the right things. And this is what you want to see, that Balletto, when he gets inside, he's not allowing himself to be tied up like he did the last couple of rounds, that he keeps his hands free, and he moves his hands, he takes advantage of what his strengths are. He's strong, he must punch inside, he must wear a guy down, he must not get tied up. And right now he must concentrate on uppercuts. Lizarraga again, leaning forward. If Balletto steps back and throws that uppercut, he's going to crash it home.
And as the chants of Tiger, Tiger cascaded down into this Fox Theater, their hometown hero gave them exactly what they came to see. Gary Balletto finishing strong against Luis Lizarraga. We'll get the official word when we come back. Tomorrow night, it's an ESPN Saturday boxing special. 2 contending junior middleweights clash. J.C. Candelo coming off his decision loss to IBF champ Winky Wright. Always makes for a good fight. He takes on Julio the Cuban Lover Garcia as he climbs up the world ranks, now in the top 10 of Ring Magazine's 154-pounders. That is tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Teddy and I will be in Mississippi for that. Then, next week on Tuesday Night Fights, we're in Hammond, Indiana for Angel Manfredi against Courtney Burton. Then next week on Friday Night Fights, we come back to New England as Rich LaMontagne takes on Dale Brown. That's next Friday at 10 o'clock on your Boxing Authority. The total punches between Gary Balletto and Luis Lizarraga, 210 landed for Balletto to 133. Teddy Atlas's scorecard, 99-92. Joey Birchfield has the official word.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a unanimous decision. Judge O'Neill scores the bout 99-91. Judge Dwyer scores the bout 100-89. And Judge Feldman scores the bout 98-93. Your winner and still IBU World Lightweight Champion from Providence, Rhode Island, Gary Tiger Balletto.
So Christina Balletto very happy for her husband. He's now 29-1-2. Still to come, Omar Shika and the newly engaged Scotty Pemberton, 2 veteran warriors ready to slug it out. But before the big punches, a check-in with the big pundits. Brian Kenny and Max Kellerman are standing by. Guys?
We were just talking about this before. Don Zimmer got married at home plate. You think you have to get married there in the ring before you really make a splash? I had no idea that Balletto was the lightweight champion of the world. Silly me. I was sitting here thinking it was Floyd Mayweather Jr. Apparently it's Balletto. Think about Balletto, though, in this fight, too. He's going to hit you hard, and he's going to keep on coming. He's not going to stop.